Hey guys, so super excited to finally cover this video. It is actually 10 o'clock on the dot. This is my second take actually, and so my hopes are that things will go pretty smooth this round. And this is also my second video for today. So super excited. I really love finance, money. It's my favorite M amongst the three. Very confident about my knowledge regarding personal finance. I consider myself to be, uh, you know, I guess a finance guru. But I guess a guru, right? Because I actually do what a lot of the things that I talk about when it comes to money. So, or I have done it. Maybe I've pivoted. For example, like I will cover I probably have covered in previous videos the stock market. I personally no longer invest in the stock market. Almost all of my money that I would invest in the stock market goes to investing in my business, whether that's marketing spend, compliant costs, additional tools and software for productivity, stuff like that. But for the average person who's probably not an entrepreneur in any capacity, right? Even if they don't even have something like a side hustle. I don't want to give any financial advice in this video, but I will go over in future videos some of the things that I personally did when I was mostly a W-2 person. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to dive into the video and go over a couple of things. First thing, disclaimer. You'll notice in this video that the biggest expense is health. The second biggest is like food and dining. You'll notice, well, what's number one, right? Like number one typically is supposed to be housing. Home here is considered a category, but I think this is just covering a couple of miscellaneous items. But what happened here is I actually I actually paid my split of the rent with my roommate. I actually pay my roommate, and then the landlord pretty much takes the money out from his account. And so yeah, I personally like having a roommate, mostly because it's really nice to have someone who's like constant company. And yeah, I mean it's cool to have someone to split the rent with. There are situations I know that some people, I have friends, for example, who don't necessarily have roommates, but they share a one bed, one bath with their significant other, right? I personally, I live in a two bed, two bath where I have my own private room and private bathroom. But yeah, I just know that when it comes to like significant others, right, splitting rent and stuff like that, or just splitting anything with that, with someone like that, it's amazing. It's actually cheaper. I'm pretty sure that a one bedroom would be a lot cheaper to split with just two people rather than a two bed, two bath with two people. But things are a little bit more volatile, right? I mean, love is a very complicated thing, and so um, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of volatility there, and so I've noticed just in my experience that and it just better accommodates my lifestyle as well, right? Because I'm a super productive person. I don't want to go too much into like my dating life and things like that, but something I may cover in the future. But I definitely want this channel to be focused on the self improvement space, right? Which is why I intentionally labeled this channel as M3 Daily, right? Daily, this channel is going to go over things in the areas of muscles, right? Which is like basically a catch all for body and health, your money, right? And your mindset. And yeah, so definitely looking forward to going over that, going over all of those things. But back to the money. So yeah, it's not included in here because I paid my rent I paid February's rent early, and I paid March's rent on time. So in February there's not a rental expense. So if we went back, I'm not entirely sure which case it is, but yeah, like if one of those 2 months we're gonna find, and either in this month in March or in January, you're gonna find two payments, right? You're gonna find two rental payments. Anyway, I started this channel in February, and I came up with the idea of covering my monthly finances in March. So we're only going to go back to February. Of course, I'll do an annual thing where we'll all 12 months will be included. But yeah, that's the reason why rent is not included in here. So it will throw things off, but that's fine. This channel is improving every single week. There are things that I'm doing and adding and taking out and mentioning in videos as suggestions, and then not doing them because at this point in time, right, during the crawling stage or stage one of this channel, there's actually a YouTube playlist that I have. It's called Stage One Crawling, and um, this is all experimental. So anything that I mention, right, if I forget to mention that it is experimental, just fill in, right? Everything that I say I would like to look at or do is completely experimental and not necessarily guaranteed. Okay, so now that we've covered that discrepancy, my biggest expense comes out to actually be health and fitness. So I'll just go over that. So that actually consists of, let's see, yeah. So it was a little high because I actually did buy a new pair of glasses. I actually bought two pair, a backup pair, and a main pair. So my main pair actually came with a lot of bells and whistles like anti-glare. Not only that, transition lens, blue light filter, all the good stuff. And my lens are, sorry, not my lens, my frames are actually completely recyclable. It's 100% metal and rubber, and they're actually they're a little bit expensive because they're designer. I'm not really a designer guy. It just so happens that these my glasses are actually Armani's. So unusual expense there. That should go down obviously. And my gym membership, that's something that I pay about $50 a month for. So this expense should actually go down by quite a bit, uh, by more than half or about half in my estimation. The food and dining here. So let's take a look at this. I think this is going to include, hold on one moment. So yeah, I think it would be better to go over this based on the categories here. So it looks like, yeah, I spent quite a bit of money on this. So what I want to do, yeah, I thought the snacks would be something that I would spend quite a bit of money on. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that much. Let's actually take a look at it. So it looks like this was mostly due, because that's really high. Like I had no idea it was that high. And I don't mean by this, I mean the parent category there, um, for food and dining and stuff like that. This includes eating out. So just FYI, I didn't establish. In fact, it wasn't in. I didn't establish a policy for myself not to eat out until I want to say like I think when I started making these sort of videos like Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, like after that, because I kind of like took a huge step back. And so this is going to capture 2 weeks of eating out, which is a really big, thing that I used to do. But just I'll revisit that in a few moments. But I do want to capture some other things. Shopping. This is like Amazon stuff. Like recently, I bought, or I guess in the month of February, this is stuff like buying little things for my house, for the apartment. So like pots, pans, um, what else? Mop stuff, right? Because we had certain like interchangeable pads, so things like that. This is all basically Amazon shopping for appliances and like household items. Business services, like this is stuff that I spend on my business. Really low, by the way. I would have. This is this is really, really low. But when I think about this, that's because some of the bigger, like, or like, high ticket items are billed on an annual basis. So this is probably only going to take into account, my business's virtual office, my web hosting and stuff like that. So yeah, and this is going to basically encompass stuff like, like um, public transit, scooters and stuff like that. FYI, I do not have a car, so just FYI, this is called auto and transport, but there is no auto, right? Well, I technically there could be an auto, right? An Uber. So those would be the only three ways that I would get around is an Uber, a scooter like a Bird scooter, like microtransit, in addition to public transit, right? The train, bus, and stuff like that. I live in an area where it's pretty, very highly very densely populated, high population center. So a lot of the things that I can access, like my gym, recreational stuff, is all within one train ride or like a bus or two. So I don't really feel the need to have a car. My bills and utilities. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So I had a chance to review it, and so no, that actually is pretty right. So it looks like February just so happened to be the month where the utilities were due. However, there was one big item in there, which was trash bags. So I get these really, eco-friendly trash bags that are fully compostable, and very eco-friendly, or at least the most eco-friendly you can get when it comes to trash bags. They're really expensive. They're like $30, and so 150 that is actually utility. Or if you divide that by, let's just say you gross it all together. If you divided that by two, you're talking $75 a month, which is not that bad. Because I'm billed on most of my utilities, the mild exception for gas, which is, come on, like, $5. But yeah, I'm billed on electric and power or electric and water every 2 months. So yeah, that's pretty much where that bill comes from. I wish they gave, some like a wheel like this. I mean, technically they do. If you click on the item, they give you a wheel, but it's just a lot more tailoring that would have to be involved to get it to my desired result. But it is what it is. So that's the utilities there. Personal care. This is basically hygiene, right? These are my soaps, my laundry, stuff like that. This is actually pretty high. I actually noticed that um, this was again one of those awkward things where I ended up buying I ended up buying a second instance of something. So I usually upload my card, not my card, my laundry account, because we actually can pay for laundry in our building with like an electric, what is it? Not electric. It's like an app, right? You upload or you load your account, and then you can pay for your laundry that way. So that's something I do, and I ended up loading my card, or start my card. I'm thinking about the old days, but yeah, loading up my account, and I did that in two $25 instances. I did not spend $50 on laundry. It's closer, if anything, it's closer to 30 than 50. But it just came out to me loading up my card, and then it was running a little bit low, and so I just said, it would just be nice to have a nice little amount in there. In fact, I did laundry today. I do laundry at least once a week on Sunday. So I noticed that I had like quite a bit of money even after doing, two or three loads. So definitely kind of overspent there. But yeah, it basically came out to, um, we're already in March. So it's, yeah, I reloaded my card quite a few times. Yeah, and then the food and drink. Yeah, let's get into this. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. This is just such an amazing uh, donut chart, right? Look at this. I get a chance to see everything. Look at this. Amazing stuff. So yeah, I spent quite a bit on groceries. In fact, this is actually really good. 412. This is basically my budget for groceries. I mean, my budget for groceries is $400. It is going to go up. It's going to be more. It's going to be closer to 450 than 400 because I'm adding protein powder, which can be pretty expensive. And so yeah, this is actually really good, and I'm glad that I'm. This is my first time looking at this. You guys are looking at a lot of this, for the first time with me, or how do you say that? We're looking at this together for the first time, right? And so this is, I'm really like, I really like this. This looks really good to me. So yeah, 412, and the reason why that looks good is because of this. This lets me know that a lot of the things that I'm spending money on, right, in terms of like, or a lot of the food budget that I'm spending money on was restaurants. I mean, look at that, $200. And I do know, and this is light. This is. I know that in February I was actually trying to, or this year actually, I was actually trying to do a little better, right? Like actually, you know, get a little bit, just like decrease my intake overall of calories, and as a consequence, your spending on restaurants will go down. So yeah, so the only thing here that I would say is, yeah, is a little bit off, right? Or there's actually a couple of things, but it's one item. It's the restaurants should actually be a bit bigger. So fast food, I don't know why they just decided to make this a different category, but all right, it is what it is, right? Because for me, fast food and restaurants are the same thing. I very rarely go to like actual restaurants. Um, but yeah, this is all the same thing. So yeah, whatever 188.65 and this is 44.26. I'll have everything added up, soon. Snacks. So this actually includes stuff like gum that I buy. This includes really the only snacks that I have, right? Like if we're talking like snacks are like cashews, those are a big one for me. Trail mix, raisins, outside of my allotment for groceries, which is interesting, right? Like depending on how I buy the raisins, it's considered a snack versus groceries, right? But yeah, that would be included in this category, which is pretty light, and this would be included in another. This is actually part of a category that I have for myself that is not official here, because it would be really hard to categorize it, but as recreation. So recreation for me would include stuff like it should be like if I go to a restaurant or something like that, right? It should be, right? But just moving forward, right? For me, like that would be, snacks would be included in that. What else would be considered recreation? Oh, a bird scooter. Even if I am getting somewhere that I'm supposed to be, I just like to lump that into recreation because just like, well, I could have gotten there on foot. I could have gotten there a lot cheaper with, a bus or a train, and so I chose probably a more scenic and fun route because bird scooters are fun, right? So anyway, yeah, coffee shop, same thing. I don't really drink coffee, but um, it'll classify certain things. If I go to a restaurant, it'll classify certain things as a coffee shop, which is really weird, but it is, Food delivery, another thing. I haven't had any food deliveries, so I'm actually curious as to what these items are. I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, okay, so yeah, so Grubhub. That's pretty much what this is. It's basically, so this is a pickup order. This is not delivery. This is pickup. Makes sense. Okay, and now I want to explore what are they classifying as coffee shops. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I actually checked. I checked it. I didn't want to really, give too many details in terms of like what was going on there, but it looks like they've consistently classified someone that I routinely go to. It's a merchant at the farmer's market, and someone else as well. So they're classifying most of my. This is a person that I actually get most of my produce from, actually. My kale and my carrots. So yeah, they just lumped it all in together, and I also got some another like specialty item from someone that I haven't really bought ever, since the time that I got it. But yeah, it's interesting that they're lumping in that, so that's something I have to adjust. Yeah, and the food delivery, obviously, that was from Grubhub, but it was a pickup. So yeah, I don't do food delivery. Actually, that was actually one of my New Year's resolutions. I believe it was either last year. No, it was the year. It was for 2021. So yeah, I that's something that I've kept since then. So since 2021, the only food delivery I've ever gotten, right? It was one time, and it was a grocery delivery, and it was such a disaster. I just said, you know what? I'm just cutting out this altogether. But yeah, for me, a big thing was the Uber Eats, that kind of stuff, and so I just decided to cut that out entirely. And if I want to get restaurant food or anything like that, I will pick it up and bring it back home, or I will just go in and eat. All right. So yeah, this is fun. This is something I really enjoy. I really love going over how I'm spending my money. Yeah, so quite a bit of money on eating out, which is really good to look at. I mean, just quick math here. It looks like this is all right. Let's do some math. So 188. Oh, there it is. 1.65 plus. Let's add fast food. And I'm yeah. I mean, I vow to not go to restaurants and stuff like that. It's not necessarily a New Year's resolution. It's just like, hey, I'm not going to eat at a restaurant. I mean, it was in the middle of February, right? That was like, oh, I'm not going to eat fast food or anything like that. And so that's where most of these transactions are coming from. They're coming from between February 1st and like February 13th or something like that. So this is a very light. I'm just looking at this. I know that there were weekends where I've spent this much money in the past, especially last year. In fact, it is for me. It's been very common on a single day. Not very often, but I want to say like maybe once a month or so. There's a day where on a Saturday or a Sunday I'll spend this much on like eating out. Not because I'm ordering a large volume of food. It's just like that's pretty much the only thing that I'm eating, and I'm getting some pretty like high quality items. But yeah, yeah this is this is a lot of money, right? Just this is a lot of money, and so yeah, I'm glad that I mean, if we just double this, right? Because if we're talking about 1 week, I don't even think I included the coffee shop thing. Oh, that's because that wasn't fast food. That was farmers market stuff. Okay, so let's multiply this times two, right? That's 465 on a monthly basis. Like that's. I mean, this is a very poor extrapolation because it's actually an underestimate in my estimation, right? So yeah, that's a lot of money, right? On an annual basis, what is that? That is almost $6,000. Wow, that is insane. Yeah, so this has been really helpful. I did this last month in February on my own, where I wasn't even considering making this as content. So it's really fun to go over these results. This is my second time doing this year, right for February. I had a chance to go over this with you guys, and so yeah, this has been really fun. I'm looking forward to doing these videos every first Sunday. And yeah, I know this video went over, but once again, I did mention in a previous video that while we do want to have a goal of single-digit minute videos, right? So basically videos under 10 minutes. I say the videos will go over 10 minutes if warranted, and I think this is definitely warranted in this case. The goal is definitely not to have these videos, the monthly finance videos, go over 10 minutes. It's just the fact that we're going over this content for the very first time. And so I feel that it's warranted to have a bit of an extended video. And plus, it's fun, right? We get to go over my numbers. I mean, this is cool stuff, you know? So yeah, really cool stuff. I am definitely looking forward to going over this content in future videos. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things we didn't really have a chance to go into detail, but you know, this would be a video closer to 45 minutes rather than 30. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut it short here. Thank you for tuning in. Looking forward to the next video, and until next time, thank you.